I had just pulled into our driveway, my heart heavy and my hands shaky, after dragging my poor father home from yet another grueling hospital procedure. Can you imagine the toll it takes? He'd been shuffled in and out of treatments for months, and each visit seemed to drain the life right out of him, leaving him weaker than ever. The car ride alone had turned his face ghostly pale, his frail hands trembling like leaves in a storm. All I wanted, my one desperate mission, was to get him inside our safe little house, tuck him into his favorite armchair, and let him rest. But, oh no, the universe had a cruel twist up its sleeve, or should I say, our HOA president did. The second I parked, I spotted her Karen standing there like some smug dictator, arms crossed tight, that infuriating grin plastered across her face. Seriously, who gave her the right to ruin our day? A cold wave of dread washed over me, sinking into my bones. I had no idea, none, how wildly our lives were about to spin out of control, all because of this relentless, power-hungry woman. Before I plunge you into this whirlwind of chaos, quick question, where are you tuning in from? Drop your city in the comments, I'm dying to know. And hey, if you're hooked on these wild, jaw-dropping stories, do me a favor, smash that like button and hit subscribe for more insanity. Alright, ready? Let's dive headfirst into how Karen took one already miserable day and turned it into an absolute nightmare. We hadn't even fully escaped the car. My dad still slumped in the passenger seat when she pounced. I was wrestling with his wheelchair, unhooking it from the back seat, my shoulders screaming from the day's stress, when her voice cut through the air like a knife. "That vehicle is a violation of HOA regulations," she barked, sounding like some self-appointed judge, ready to slam a gavel. Can you believe the nerve? I let out a sigh, long and shaky, trying so hard to keep my cool. "Karen," I said, practically pleading, "I've told you before, over and over, it's not a commercial vehicle. It's just a plain black sedan. My father's in a wheelchair, for crying out loud, we need it close to the house." But did she care? Nope. She just shook her head, whipping out that ridiculous laminated HOA booklet she carried like a holy relic. "It sure looks commercial to me," she snapped. "Vehicles used for business, deliveries, any non-residential purpose are subject to immediate removal." My dad, clinging to the car door for support, stared at her with those tired, confused eyes. The man was exhausted, aching from head to toe, and the last thing he needed was this showdown. But Karen? Oh, she couldn't care less about human decency. Rules were her god. "We literally just got home from his medical procedure," I cried, my voice cracking with a mix of frustration and desperation. "Can't we deal with this later, please?" She tapped her finger on that stupid booklet, smirking like she'd already won. "No can do. You're on the clock. Tow truck's already on its way." My heart slammed against my chest. Bam, bam, bam. She'd called a tow truck? Without even giving me a chance to move the darn car? My father's face crumpled. "Son," he whispered, his voice so weak it broke my heart. "If it's going to cause problems, maybe I can manage a few extra feet." But he could barely stand without that wheelchair. Nonsense. I hissed under my breath, fury bubbling up. Karen has no right to pull this on us. Her timing? Oh, it was terrifyingly perfect. Like she'd planned it to torture us. A low, menacing rumble echoed in the distance, and my stomach twisted into knots. I whipped my head around just in time to see a massive tow truck lumbering down our quiet street, its hazard lights flashing like some ominous beacon of doom. My dad, still stuck in the car, let out a weary, "Not this again. Could this day get any worse?" The truck screeched to a stop right in front of our driveway, and out hopped this burly driver, his face blank, total indifference. Just another paycheck for him, another car to snatch, clipboard in hand. He didn't even glance my way before turning to Karen like she was the queen of the block. "Which one, ma'am?" he grunted. Karen's smirk widened. She was loving this, wasn't she? She thrust her arm up with this dramatic, over-the-top flourish like she was banishing us to some far-off land. That one, she declared, jabbing her finger at my car. It's got to go! I stepped forward, my jaw so tight it hurt. You're making a huge mistake, I snapped. The driver finally flicked his eyes my way, pen hovering over his clipboard. You the owner? He asked, all casual-like. I sucked in a deep breath, shoving my anger down. Technically, no, it's my wife's. But trust me, you really don't want to tow this thing. Karen scoffed, rolling her eyes so hard I thought they'd pop out of her head. Oh, please, she sneered. Don't start with the excuses. You're the one parking it, so it's fair game. She crossed her arms tighter, her gaze bouncing between me and the driver, daring me to fight back. I exhaled slow and sharp, my patience fraying like an old rope. Karen, do you even remember me telling you time and time again that my wife is an undercover officer? The driver's brow furrowed. Wait, what? Karen's smug little grin twitched, just for a second, but she waved it off fast. There are no cops in this neighborhood, she laughed. That's ridiculous! You're lying to dodge the bylaws! I took a slow, deliberate step toward her, my voice dropping low and steady. Karen, think really, really carefully about what you're saying right now, because you're about to cross a line you can't come back from. She scoffed again, but I caught a tiny flicker of doubt in her eyes. Oh, give me a break, she spat. If that's a police vehicle, where's the proof? Huh? I don't see any badges, no logos, no sirens, just a car. And in this neighborhood, the rules apply to everyone, no exceptions. The driver shifted on his feet, looking uneasy. It doesn't have markings, he mumbled, but if it's an official vehicle, I can't tow it. That's a big legal mess. Karen spun on him like a wild animal. I told you it's not a police car, she shrieked. He's bluffing! Hook it up already! The driver frowned, clearly torn. Listen, lady, if it's really government issued, I'm not getting sued over your HOA nonsense. Karen's nostrils flared. Oh, she was mad now. Oh my God, are you serious? She yelled. This is exactly why we need stricter enforcement around here. People like him always think they're above the rules, always have some pathetic, made-up excuse. That was it, I snapped. My dad was sitting there, helpless in the car, watching this woman try to rip our lives apart like it was her personal vendetta. How could I let this slide? I straightened up, my voice icy and calm, deadly calm. Karen, the first swear, if you so much as touch that tow truck cable, you're going to regret it big time. Her mouth opened, then clamped shut. For the first time ever, she looked nervous. The driver glanced at me, then her, scratching his head. Look, I don't have time for this circus, he barked. Either you pay me for my time or I'm out of here. Karen choked, actually choked. I'm not paying for this, she screeched, her face turning red. And then, oh, thank the heavens. Like a miracle straight out of a movie, my wife's personal car rolled into the driveway. She stepped out, cool as ice, sunglasses on, her expression unreadable, but the air, it shifted. Everyone felt it. Karen pounced like a vulture, jabbing a finger at her. Oh, look who finally decided to show up, she crowed. I was just telling your husband. He's breaking HOA rules and lying through his teeth. My wife didn't flinch. Excuse me? She said, smooth and steady. Karen let out this sharp, nasty laugh, turning to the driver like he was her personal audience. He's been standing here claiming you're some kind of police officer. Can you believe that garbage? She spun back to my wife, sneering. Let me guess you're going to say you're an FBI agent too, right? My stomach knotted up tight. Karen was digging her own grave. Did she even realize it? Listen, sweetheart, she went on, her voice dripping with condescension. You might want to tell your husband to watch it, because I could report you both for impersonating law enforcement. She smirked, all smug and proud. That's a felony, you know. A thick, tense silence stretched out agonizing. Karen's triumph lasted maybe 3 seconds before my wife, calm as ever, reached into her back pocket. "What's this?" She pulled out a small leather wallet, flipped it open, and bam! There it was, her police badge, gleaming like justice itself under the afternoon sun. Karen's face drained of all color poof, just like that, as if someone had flipped a switch and sucked the life right out of her smug little world. The tow truck driver stiffened, his big frame going rigid like he'd just seen a ghost. A few neighbors who'd crept out of their houses to gawk let out these low, shocked gasps. "Can you believe it?" I crossed my arms, staring her down, and threw out a challenge. "Still think we're lying, Karen, huh?" Her face turned this sickly, ghastly shade of white, like she might keel over right there. The neighbors exploded into hushed chatter, some whispering behind their hands, others smirking like they'd waited years for this moment. And who could blame them? Karen had spent forever bullying our little neighborhood, stomping around like she owned the place, and now finally, she was on the losing end. Oh, you bet people were enjoying this show. The tow truck driver, still clutching his clipboard like a lifeline, let out a sharp, fed-up sigh and rubbed his temples hard. "All right, that's it," he barked. "Someone's paying me right now, or I'm filing a claim. I'm done with this nonsense." Karen, gripping that precious rule book of hers like it was some magical shield, let out this sharp, mocking laugh, high-pitched and nasty. "Oh, no, no, no," she sneered. "I'm not paying for this. I shouldn't have to pay for this. This isn't my problem, not one bit." The driver shot her this unimpressed look, like he'd heard every excuse in the book. "Ma'am," he said, slow and firm, "you called for the tow. That means you pay the call-out fee. That's how this works, end of story." Karen's mouth twisted into a scowl, her lips curling like she'd bitten into something sour. "No," she spat. "I called for a tow because of an HOA violation. I was enforcing the rules, doing my job. I'm not the one at fault here, he is." She flung her hands up dramatically, spinning toward the growing crowd of neighbors like she was begging for backup. "You all heard him admit it," she cried. "That's not his car, it's his wife's. And she wasn't even home. He's been lying this whole time, spinning tales, and now you expect me to pay? Are you kidding me?" A few neighbors swapped, knowing glances those sly, "We see through you" looks. No one was buying her act, not for a second. The tow driver tapped his clipboard with this cool, unbothered vibe, totally ignoring her tantrum. "Yeah, lady," he said. "I don't care about your HOA drama. I care about getting paid, period." Karen stiffened, her eyes darting around like a trapped animal searching for an escape. Then, in this wild, desperate move, she whirled back to the driver. "Listen," she snapped. "I have a better idea, way better. Just file the charge to his account." She jabbed a finger at me, her nail practically slicing the air. "He's the one breaking the rules, so he should be responsible for it, not me." The driver let out this short, barking laugh, pure disbelief. "That's not how this works, lady." He shot back, shaking his head like she'd lost her mind. Karen's face flared red bright, angry red, her lips pressing into this thin, furious line. "I will not pay this," she shrieked. "You can't make me, nobody can." The driver just shrugged, flipping a page on his clipboard like it was no big deal. "Cool," he said, all casual. "I'll just send it to collections then. Enjoy dealing with that mess." Karen flinched, actually flinched, at the word collections. Her mouth flapped open and shut, like a fish gasping on dry land. She spun toward me, seething, her eyes blazing with venom. "This is your fault," she hissed. "You and your pathetic lies. If you had just followed the rules, my rules, this never would have happened. You've ruined everything." I took a step forward, ready to fire back, but my wife, calm as ever, laid a steady hand on my arm. She tilted her head toward Karen, a tiny smirk tugging at her lips. "You called him, Karen," she said, smooth and cutting. "You pay. That's the deal. Karen let out this strangled, guttural noise like a wild animal caught in a trap, her hands clenching into tight fists at her sides. For a second, I swear, I thought she might explode right there, boom bits of HOA rulebook flying everywhere. Then, with this furious growl that echoed down the street, she ripped open her purse, snatched out her credit card with trembling hands, and flung it at the driver like it was a weapon. "Take it!" she screeched. "I hope you're all happy, every last one of you." The driver swiped it, cool as a cucumber, not even blinking. "Pleasure doing business with you," he said, tossing her card back. A few neighbors let out quiet cheers, yes, and Mrs. Santiago, this sweet older lady from across the street, shook her head with a grin. About time Karen faced real consequences, she muttered, loud enough for us all to hear. Karen, humiliated beyond belief, turned her fury on me like a raging bull. "You'll regret this," she hissed, her voice shaking but dripping with pure hatred. "I'm the president of this HOA, and I'll see to it that you pay for making a fool of me. Mark my words." She stomped off, her heels clacking against the pavement, the crowd parting like the Red Sea to let her storm through. My father, who'd watched this whole showdown from the passenger seat, was pale and trembling. Poor guy. Are we safe?" he stammered as I opened the car door to help him out, his voice so small it broke my heart. I forced a big, reassuring smile, even though my insides were churning. "We're fine, Dad," I said brightly. "Let's get you inside nice and cozy. Karen's all talk, she won't try that again." But oh, how wrong I was. Karen wasn't just talk, she was a whirlwind of spite, the kind of person who'd push every limit, break every rule, and toss human decency out the window just to win. What was she plotting next? I had no clue, none. Barely 48 hours later, violation letters started piling up at my doorstep. Wham, bam, bam. Like some twisted daily subscription from the HOA devil herself. Each one was more ridiculous than the last. Grass height. My lawn was apparently 0.7 inches taller than her precious standard. Seriously, who measures that? Ramp guidelines? She called the wheelchair ramp by our front door unauthorized construction, threatening fines unless I ripped it out. Mailbox color? She claimed the paint had faded and didn't meet her oh-so-perfect aesthetic guidelines. My father caught me fuming as I sorted through this madness at the kitchen table. He set his walker aside with a shaky hand and sank into a chair, his face etched with worry. "All because of that car fiasco, right?" he asked softly, his voice trembling. "I feel like I'm to blame, son. You did it for me so I'd be closer to the house. This is my fault, isn't it?" I reached over fast, grabbing his hand tight. "Dad, no!" I exclaimed. "None of this is your fault, not one bit. Karen would have found some excuse. Anyway, she's out for blood. She's punishing me because I embarrassed her in front of the whole neighborhood." He sighed, this heavy mix of guilt and defeat clouding his tired eyes. His health was hanging by a thread. Heart issues, nerve pain, mobility struggles, and the last thing he needed was this. HOA war weighing him down. "Maybe I should stay in my room more," he murmured, half joking, half serious. "Out of her sight, keep the peace?" My chest tightened so hard it hurt. "No way," I shot back. "This is our home, Dad. You're not a prisoner here. You deserve to live free." I saw him try to nod, forcing a brave little smile, but Karen's relentless harassment was crushing his spirit. Right then, I swore to dig deeper into her schemes, not just for me, but for Dad and every neighbor she tormented under her iron fist. And boy, did things escalate fast. One afternoon, I was helping Dad onto the porch finally. Some fresh air, since he rarely left the house except for those awful hospital trips. That ramp? It was his lifeline, letting him roll in and out safely. But who shows up out of nowhere? Karen. She popped up on the sidewalk, arms crossed, eyes icy as a winter storm. "So," she snapped, all high and mighty, "you're still using that unapproved ramp. I sent you a notice, did you not see it? Or do you just not care?" I gritted my teeth hard. "My father needs this ramp." I fired back. "He can't climb steps, you know that, Karen." She shrugged, casual as can be. "HOA standards exist for a reason. Your ramp's an eyesore, it violates the uniformity rule. I can fine you daily until it's gone daily." Dad's knuckles went white, gripping his wheelchair armrests. "Ma'am, please," he said, his voice shaking but strong. "This ramp is the only reason I can leave the house. I'm a disabled veteran, served my country. Are you saying I have no place here?" Karen raised a brow, looking bored like his words meant nothing. "If you need that many accommodations," she drawled, "maybe you picked the wrong neighborhood." Rage, pure, fiery rage, surged through me so fierce I nearly cried. Dad had given so much for this country, and she dared to call him a nuisance? Before I could explode, my wife stepped out behind us, fierce as a lion. "Karen, that's enough!" she snapped, arms folded tight. "You're infringing on ADA protections. Keep pushing and you'll land in serious legal trouble, trust me." Karen rolled her eyes big and dramatic and spun on her heel. "We'll see about that," she shot back. "I have every right to keep this community up to standard. Your father's situation doesn't exempt him from the rules, not in my book." She stalked off, leaving us rattled, shaken to the core. Dad's shoulders slumped, a defeated sigh slipping out. "I'm so sorry," he whispered, barely audible. "I never thought I'd be in the way, never." "No," I said softly, my voice thick with emotion. "You're not, Dad, she is. She's the problem here, not you, never you." Word of Karen's cruelty spread through our neighborhood like wildfire, whoosh, igniting whispers and gasps from every corner. Within days, neighbors were practically lining up at my door, their voices hushed with disbelief. Some muttered about outrageous fines she'd slapped on them. Can you imagine? While others confessed how she'd bullied them into coughing up cash for the tiniest infractions. One single mom, her eyes brimming with tears, poured her heart out to me. "Karen demanded I move my kid's little basketball hoop," she sobbed. "Said it was for community safety, then threatened to call Child Protective Services if I didn't obey." Who does that? My father, sitting nearby, soaked in these stories, his face a mix of horror and strangely hope. "So it's not just us," he exclaimed, his voice trembling. "She's been terrorizing everyone for years." "Years," I nodded, a spark of determination flaring in my chest. "Exactly, Dad." "Which means we've got a rock-solid case if we all band together united against her tyranny." I dove in, compiling a list of Karen's sins that just kept growing. Oh, it was a doozy. Excessive fines for nonsense like wrong paint shades, noisy kids laughing too loud, or a blade of grass out of place. Fraudulent claims like when she told the tow company my wife's police car was some shady commercial vehicle. Ramp harassment targeting my dad, a disabled man, for heaven's sake. And possible violations of disability laws. My wife jumped in, cool-headed as ever, helping me organize this mountain of evidence into neat folders, paper stacks, and digital files, all lined up like soldiers ready for battle. She even tossed in references to the ADA and fair housing guidelines. Smart, right? "With enough proof," she said, her voice steady, "the city's housing authority or even a private attorney can shut her down for good." Dad cracked a faint smile, his eyes lighting up. "I hope so," he sighed. "I just want to step outside without feeling like a criminal for breathing." But Karen? Oh, she wouldn't quit, not her. A week later, while Dad and I sat inside plotting his next doctor's visit, a familiar rumble shook the house, another tow truck. My chest squeezed tight. Oh no, not again. I just knew it was for my wife's unmarked car, Karen's favorite target. We bolted outside, Dad rolling in his wheelchair, me practically sprinting, and there it was, the driver hooking up that same black sedan. Karen stood there, arms folded, cool as ice. I warned you, she sneered. You keep breaking the bylaws, so I'm taking action. Deal with it. I lost it. You know that's a police car, right? I shouted. This is the second time you've pulled this stunt. What's wrong with you? She shrugged, all fake innocence, batting her lashes. No visible markings, she chirped. Looks commercial to me. Oops. Dad cleared his throat from the wheelchair, his voice shaky but firm. Karen, but he stopped, the tension choking him silent. Thank goodness my wife rolled up right then. A local cop in tow, someone must have dialed 911. The officer took one look at the tow truck and zeroed in on Karen. Is this the same car you tried to tow last week? He demanded, his tone sharp as a blade. Karen jutted her chin out. I told you, the bylaws. He cut her off, hand up like a stop sign. Ma'am, local statutes and state law trump your HOA rules every time. You can't keep calling tows on a legit, legally parked vehicle, especially law enforcement property. Are we clear? The tow driver shook his head, frustration oozing from him. I'm not losing my job over this, he snapped. I didn't know she'd pulled this before nobody told me. Karen's face twisted. Oh, she was caught now. She'd boxed herself in, and the neighbors? They were back, phones out, filming every second. This was public humiliation on a whole new level, way bigger than her last flop. This is harassment, she screeched, her voice piercing the air. I'm the one being harassed me. But did anyone buy it? Nope, not a soul. The officer stayed calm, repeating himself like a broken record. Ma'am, I'm warning you, keep this up, and you'll face charges for harassment or obstruction, serious stuff. Karen shot me a glare so venomous it could have melted steel, then stormed off poof without another word. Turns out her obsession with towing that police car lit a fuse. The city's housing department swooped in within days, BAM inspectors and officials crawling all over our neighborhood, asking pointed questions about Karen's reign as HOA president. Whispers started swirling, juicy ones. Rumor had it her financial records were a mess, and she might have been skimming HOA funds for years. Neighbors pinged me with screenshots of maintenance fees that didn't add up, no repairs, no nothing. Others spilled about hush-hush cash payments she demanded for vague infractions. What a scam. She'd built herself a personal slush fund. Unbelievable. Dad, suddenly alive with purpose, helped me piece it all together. We stuffed a binder full witness statements, ramp photos, every violation letter, receipts from folks she'd shaken down under the table, all of it. You know, Dad said one quiet evening, his voice soft but steady, I never wanted to be in the middle of a war, never. But if this stops her from hurting others, maybe this was meant to happen, fate, right? I gave his shoulder a gentle squeeze, grinning. We're so close to the finish line, Dad, I said. She's about to face the music, finally. And oh, that meltdown hit faster than I dreamed. One sunny afternoon, Dad and I were chilling on the porch, rare peace, when two unmarked sedans rolled up near Karen's house. Out stepped officials in crisp suits, flanked by uniformed cops, serious business. They marched straight to her door, bam, bam, bam. We couldn't catch the words, but her shrill voice sliced through the calm suburban air, yelling about unlawful intrusion, arms flailing like a windmill. She tried to slam the door, whack, but an officer jammed his foot in. Neighbors poured out, drawn to the drama like moths to a flame. My wife joined us on the porch, arms folded, all of us watching this unfold. Is that an arrest warrant they're flashing? She murmured, eyes wide. Dad's gaze flickered, shock, relief all at once. If it is, he said, well, she's darn well earned it, every bit. Suddenly, Karen stumbled back, her face white as a ghost. An official stepped inside. Another radioed something. Were they hunting financial records? She was powerless. And she knew it, she argued, flailing, but the more she ranted, the clearer it got. She had no ground to stand on, none. Then, bam, the big moment. Two officers hauled her out in handcuffs. Karen's face twisted with fury as she spotted us. The whole neighborhood gawking. Oh, she was livid. "This is all lies," she screeched, her voice cracking. "You did this." She jabbed a shaky finger at me. "And you," she glared at Dad. "You're just a—" An officer yanked her arm. "That's enough," he barked, firm and final, shoving her into a police cruiser. Her hateful rant cut off slam as the door shut tight. I glanced at Dad, his eyes glassy with tears, happy ones. "Son, it's over," he whispered, voice quivering. "She can't hurt us anymore, thank God." Thanks for sticking with me to the end. Wow, what a ride. If you loved this wild tale, smash that like button and subscribe for more just like it. Ever tangled with an HOA Karen or a nightmare neighbor? Drop your stories in the comments. I'm dying to hear them. Until next time, take care, stay strong.